Hey, you guys! Well, for those of you who know me, I am the Magical Medium. Welcome to my channel. This is my beautiful friend, Zoe.
Hello.
Zoe is a very witchy sister. If you watch my shorts, you probably saw the shorts that I posted recently with us moon gazing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful moment.
It was a beautiful moment. It was really great. And I've been wanting to do something like this for a really long time, but it just hasn't happened organically the way I wanted it to. So Zoe has been traveling the world, and she just came off of Hawaii. Hawaii, is that how they say it?
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yep.
And
apostrophe.
I was gonna say, but don't they on the island? Don't they go like Hawaii, or don't they say it in like when they say it? I'm like, I'm saying it totally wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I think it's the culture. It's the way that it's pronounced.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, so she was there for 4 months off grid and came back to Washington, where we originally met. And basically, we were supposed to, as you guys know, we were supposed to be in the cabin, but we weren't. And we were going to have Zoe and her mom come and visit. And long story short, she came to stay in the RV instead. And hi, Lori!
Hi! Hi, Mom!
I know, I was going to say hi, Mom. And so that's a really cool story, too. So, how we met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, I guess we'll go back to the decision of me even going to see you.
Oh, yeah. You guys saw me together both times, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Because you were the first.
This is a good story.
You were the first medium that my mom had gone to, and actually she was pretty skeptical.
Yeah.
But honestly, so was I.
Yeah.
Because you were like one of the first true, like authentic mediums.
Yeah.
Who I've encountered. But
and let me interrupt and say, FYI, for those of you who don't know, cards are new to me. I was actually a true medium. I didn't use any things. I was just a straight channel.
Yep.
And so cards were when I got more into doing visual and stuff on social media and things like that. So that's why she's saying that, because a lot of people, I actually Gail, I don't know if she watched these. Hi, Gail. Gail, one of my clients, said that last year. She said, what's with the cards? And like she goes, yeah, she's seen me a few times before, and she goes, you don't need that shit. She was so funny. And I go, well, I know. I go, but the visuals are fun and people like them. And and anyway, so interesting. Yeah.
Anyways, so I had this idea to go see a medium because I was searching for a little more guidance in my life, and I know that my mom would benefit from that too. And so I told her about it, and actually, I think Psychic Sister is the only place that gives readings in Olympia. Is that true?
I don't know. I know that there's places throughout, because I was thinking after I started working at Psychic Sister, I was like, I'm like, maybe there's some other, maybe I should, because I was only working there like once or twice a month. Then it became like every weekend. Yeah. I was there almost all the time, but and I picked up shifts for people, like a job, like I was a server. I'd be like, call me. I hardly ever said no when they called me either. And those are the days I'd make like really good money, and I was like, I'm so glad I picked up. But I know that I want to say in Tacoma, there's a crystal. I feel like there's a few crystal shops, and the one in Shelton, Crystal Cove or Cave or whatever.
Crystal Cove.
I don't know if they do readings like that, but last time I checked, I think it was like that you would go there, and they had like cards from readers, and that they offered this space to readers to come to and use it if they wanted to, because they had offered that to me once.
So then Olympia would be the only place.
Yeah.
So yeah, we booked a session, and sure enough, it was Lula. And immediately upon arrival, I was like, I know you. Like, I know you're my aunt, or like a really close sister. Yeah. It was immediate familiarity.
And I don't remember if your mom said it. I don't remember, Lori. I don't even comment below. But I don't remember if your mom said it the first time or the second time. But she said she felt like we were twins in another life, and I think we were twins. And I had felt this connection to Zoe and Lori, like I couldn't explain either. Like, and because I'd been working, with so many different people all over and whatever, I really could tell, there's a difference. Like a lot of you guys are like my family too, right? Well, you're my family anyway, but we're all like waking up and remembering each other and helping each other in this life, because, we know, and especially the witches, in all of our past lifetimes, you know, we've suffered in such horrible ways. And so like, I like outed them and told them, I'm like, do you know you're witches? Did
Yeah.
I say that?
Something like that,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah. It was 5 years ago at this point.
So we just realized 5 years. We've known each other for 5 years.
Yeah. But, I mean, I guess the moral of the story is that we got the reading from her, and my mom had this specific question in mind. She's like, we're both a little skeptical, as one would be. It's good to be skeptical, just to have questions.
Of course.
And yeah.
I'm still
So-
skeptical of my own readings.
Yeah. So we had these questions that maybe nobody knew in the back of our mind. And she was spot on, to the point where my mom and I were in tears and we were like, what in the world?
Yeah, your mom started shaking, if I
Yeah.
remember. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was like really intense. And also there was a few moments where Lori and I were like, it was like I couldn't. It was like electricity. It was kind of it was so intense that I was like almost afraid of her, but not of her, but just like I'd never had that with somebody. A few people, but not like that. Like
Mhm.
I couldn't really explain it. And it's interesting because one of my other childhood friends, her name is Karen, and we call each other twin because we really are like, she's the only person I've ever had that, even though I've had best friends that were like my best closest friends. Karen and I literally like had this telepathic
Yeah.
and just this love for and respect for each other that like, and because where we grew up, you know, on the south side of Chicago, wasn't like, you know, it just, and there was a lot of cattiness and, you know, and the way we grew up, and women were very catty in the 80s and trying to prove themselves. And it was a tough time. And I feel like, you know, she and I were such sensitives and empaths, and we didn't know what we were. We just
Yeah.
knew. So we like, you know, we trusted each other without knowing, you know what I'm
Why?
saying?
Yeah.
So, and I've had that with a lot of people, but I think I've lived a lot of lives. And so, I mean, look at this one. I look at this one, and I've moved almost 30 times, and I've lived in 5 states, and you know what I mean? And I've traveled for long periods of time and stayed in different, you know, countries for long periods of time. And so, you know, it's like, and studied different cultures and things like that. So it's just interesting. It's just interesting how it's like all coming together. So, by the way, we're in our jammies.
Cozy clothes.
I'm like, this is my new sweater that I love so much, and it's like a bathrobe. By the way, you guys, not to Superman you, but I was told to show you my shirt today. Not my boobs, but my shirt. Can they see that? Can you see that? Look for something positive in every day. I was actually gonna wear my owl. There we go. I was gonna wear my owl t-shirt. It's the same color gray, and I thought I was grabbing that, and they're like, no, because I saw they were like, da, 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 like, and in my mind, yeah, Superman, and I was like, I'm like, it's an owl, you know what I mean? And I know yesterday, Alder and I were like trying to put our brains together to bring something good to us, and we're like, Wonder Twin powers activate, form of, shape of. You're too young for that.
Yeah, I was like,
Anyway.
I
I don't understand. So that comes back to that. So we met when she was 19.
Yep.
And
5 years ago.
yeah, and your mom and I are very close in age. So, you know, and
Only a year.
only a year.
You're a year younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our birthdays, like Lori and I, our birthdays are like a week apart. So she's winter solstice.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, did I say happy birthday to you, Lori? Because that's when I was sick, and I couldn't remember if because I didn't text.
right.
People were texting me when I was sick, and I didn't even look at my phone for days. And then there were so many messages that I just was like, I'll get to it later.
Overwhelming.
Yeah. But sometimes it's like I read it, but I'm like, yeah. And so, Lori, happy birthday. I think I did, but I don't remember.
I think you did.
I think I did.
I think you
Yeah. Anyway, so it's like we just had this, and Scorpio, she's a Scorpio, November 16th, and my moon's in Scorpio, and I'm a triple Sag, and it's like, you know, it's
Both
like,
moon.
yeah.
Both moon Scorpio.
And this we realized the other day that Lori, Zoe, and myself are all moon babies, and today's Moon Day.
Yay. Happy Moon Day.
Yes, happy Moon Day. It's Moon Day magic. So I was just like, dude, you're here. It's Moon Day. I'm like, I just got the pull. She's extremely gifted. So is Lori. And that's why they came to me, because they were waking up. And, you know, that's my job. I'm just here to fucking help you. You know, I'm just here as your muse to, like, give you the breadcrumbs and be like, da-da-da. You know what I mean? Like, there it is. Yeah. But,
Here's a sneak peek. Figure it
yeah,
out.
exactly. So it's like, I'm like, I have so much love for Zoe. I can't even tell you. Like Lori and I we were talking about the other day. It's like, you know, she literally feels like my niece. Like we're like family. Like Lori's my sister, and like she's my niece, and we just have this relationship. And I'm like, I was looking at her social media, and I'll put a link below and give them your hashtag or
it's
your
at Barefoot Guidance on Instagram.
On Instagram at
Thank
Barefoot
you.
Guidance, of course, yes. And so she was showing me her stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like, you really need to go check her out. If you're on Instagram, you're seriously, I will put a link below. I'll put it in the comments. I'll pin it. But it's just watching her grow up has been, a lot of you know, I've watched a lot of you grow up. And watching you become and blossom into the amazing, gifted, beautiful creatures that you are, and accepting your witch and accepting your gifts and loving yourself, and it's been my pure pleasure. And honestly, yeah, I'm like, it just gives me the chills, and I love it. And so I feel like it's time for Zoe to really, like, you know, put herself out there. And when you watch her videos, she's on them, but it's, you know,
it's different than this.
It's different than this
perspective.
And seriously, just go check it out. Even if you can still follow it, and Instagram will let you looky-loo for a minute, and then when they're like, oh, okay, you have to join, you know what I mean? But you can at least go maybe look a little bit and see her content. But it just really inspired me, and I feel like it would inspire you guys as artists, and just how much we can do with our power in a minute and 7 seconds. And you know what I mean, like putting our word out there. And I feel like as light workers and prophets, like it's our job as muses to like go out there. You know, we are the witches, the healers, and the deep down believers. And it is, the world is changing, and I can feel it, and I know the darkness feels it. I can tell that they're like,
got chills.
Yeah, like it's receding. It has to, because it just gets to a point where the light, and I've been saying this for the last 2 years, I'm like, you guys were like this, but when we get to that fucking mountain, we're gonna go here, and it's gonna go, holy shit. Right now
I have a poem about that. It's not memorized,
Oh.
but
well, maybe it's something to put on your thing, and then we'll look at it later.
Interesting. It's
And
literally about life and the roller coaster, like that quote, and like basically how you're slowly crawling up. It feels like you're climbing a mountain, and then you get to the very top, and then like there's a line to like hold on to your seat, and then like once you get to the top, you're plummeting back down. So hold on.
That's amazing. And maybe this is she's been talking about putting her poetry on her social media. Maybe that would be a great one, because you know, she has over 10,000 you know people. It's like, that's, I mean, my gosh, I feel blessed to have as many people here with us as we do. And every so often, one of you guys will pop in either to my private messages or on here, and you'll say, you know, wow, that thing really changed my life, or that shorts, or thank you, I needed that today, you know. And it really isn't about how many followers or how much money we make. It's about how each person, by one person, can just, it's the butterfly effect that can, and we're seeing it now. And I think I've told you guys about this before, and if spirit pulls me to, I'll put it below with her information. But I think I told you about Yona. I think that it's pronounced Yona Hinton, but it's Jinton, and she's Swedish, and she has like I'm like, she's Swedish, right? Not Switzerland. I'm pretty sure she's Swedish.
I'm not 100% sure.
Anyway, she's amazing. But she instead of putting more of her own content out, when she hit 4 million followers, she asked everybody to send her a video and say, if you had a platform where 4 million people would see you, what would you say? And her and her family went through thousands of videos and made a montage, and I will put it below. I was bawling. I literally still haven't watched all of it because I got through half of it and I was crying so much I needed to take a break. And it was I'm starting to get emotional. It was one of the most moving things I'd seen in a really long time, mostly because like one minute you'd see like some beautiful face and be like, hi, I'm from, you know, this country. And they're like, you are beautiful and I love you. And you're like, yeah, you know what I mean? And then it's like, and then somebody's like, hi, I'm from this country. And they're trying to speak English, but they're not very good at it. And you're just like, but it's awesome because they're like, smile today. You know, they just say like one little thing. And then like all of a sudden they started to get heavier. And this guy was like, I was going to kill myself yesterday. Ooh. And it's like, and then here he is, and she just turned his life around, you know what I mean? And it's like, this is the power that we have, and this is how we can use social media, and this is how we can use connection, is like this different, you know, foundation.
Like if I could just inspire one person with one single post,
your job is done.
Yeah, my job is done.
That's literally it.
And I do have poetry on my Instagram, but it's in a different it's a different perspective of my poetry. It's mostly just the captions. Yeah. And I think I'm transitioning more into voicing them, actually.
Yeah, like having the bravery to like speak it out through your mouth.
Yeah.
It's different because
it is. It's really different.
Yeah. Well, you saw mine yesterday. I was showing her. If you guys haven't, go on Lula's Life. When I first started it, we were talking about today. It's like I just keep transitioning, and that's okay. I'm loving it. I'm like changing. I'm growing. I'm evolving. I'm out of the pupus, but not really flying all the way yet. But you know, people were like, "Wow, that poem!" Like, because it's my poem, right? So it's like I'm the inflection. I can tell you too, just from experience, there are many times where I would actually read the poem, or I would do like take after take after take, because every time I would read my own poem, it would hit me differently.
Ooh.
And so I actually would do sometimes 5 or 10 different versions of me reading it, and then I go back and I'm like, wow. And then like and if I'm not sure, then I'll have Alder look at him, and like he'll look at, he's like, that one for sure, you know.
I relate so much to that,
Yeah,
because I do have audio poems on my phone that I've just recorded, and it's like, oh, maybe they'll make it out there someday.
But what if you uploaded like your 10 audio poem, like with your pictures, you know what I mean? And it's your voice instead of the music from somebody else, or the words from somebody else, it's yours.
I've definitely thought about that too. But I'll have,
when you're ready.
Yeah. I have like 10 different versions of one poem, and they're all different.
Yeah.
The emotion is different.
And how you're feeling at the time.
Yep.
Which is why when texting started, my mom hated it, because my mom said, you can't hear the tone or the inflection in someone's voice. Like, and she said, every person who reads the text is reading it from the emotion that they're feeling at the time. Right? So if somebody sends you a text, right, and they're like, you know, hey, what's up, man? Sorry I didn't make it to the, you know, blah, blah. If you're in a good mood, you're like, oh, it's fine. I did blah, blah, blah. But if you're in a bad mood, you're like, oh, well, you know what I mean? It's like, not everybody. I mean, I'm just saying, like, we all do things like that. We have emotional moments and our highs and our lows. Speaking of, we're going to get to that. This full moon in Leo, did it kick your ass? Because it beat the shit out of us for the last 3 days. And we're going to tell you about that. Which is why I felt like she needed to come in, because I felt like there was so much I wanted to tell you guys, and just miracles.
It's a huge part of the story.
Yeah, it's just, and how life flows, and how we really do have to go with the flow of life and listen to ourselves, yada, yada, yada. So, interestingly enough, what was I saying now?
Shoot.
I know, because I'm normally by myself, so I can kind of like, well, they know too, I also will like, but anyway, it'll come back around when it's meant to. But yeah, the texting. And so like when we're giving information to each other, this is why it's important to, like, you know, when they say you answer the phone with a smile, like you go, hello, and because you will naturally, everything shifts. So I feel like right now, energy is the most vital component, even though we know that's everything there is like energy and love and peace. But it's just like now more than ever, we're realizing self-care, energy, like it really does mean something, that it's not just fucking bullshit. It's not some woo-woo. It's like, it's real shit. Real. Speaking of, you guys, we're going to, I'm going to see if I can get in here. I don't know if you guys can see this. We're going to do the self-care oracle, which is so great because she's like on a half moon, on a full moon. I love that. Did I just fuck it up? Hold on. I know we were setting this up, and I'm like, be patient. I'm like, I've never done this for more than me. And you guys know I don't get super fancy. Maybe someday I will. So full moon in Leo. So we're going to talk about intuition, the moon. I mean, the moon's all about our intuition, right? Our water. It like affects, the moon affects the ebbs and flows of the water, right? So if we're 70% water, then it's affecting us.
It's definitely affecting us.
And when we were trying to plan for her to come, we had different days in mind. I had this weird feeling it was supposed to happen in January. We had a beautiful week in January where it was like, it felt like spring. And I was like, oh, like that would have been perfect, you know, but like it just didn't go down the way it did. And long story short, we both had this feeling that we weren't supposed to get together on Friday the 3rd. And it ended up being a really crazy day that started with rainbows. I was like, dude, we were coming together. I'm like, there's
going to be such a good day.
Like, and then I was like, and on the way there, because we had to drive like an hour, and I was like, I saw 3 more. You know what I mean? I was like, we were like really excited. Yeah. And I was like, her mom drove her. We met like halfway because her mom lives like 2 hours from me. And so we like had this like awesome moment. Everything was great. We were hanging out at the grocery store, having a good time. Like everything was wonderful. And then we got in their car, said goodbye to Lori. She went back her way, and which thank you for the candy, Lori. That was so good.
Yes.
It was
We
so
had it last
good.
night.
We did. It was so good. It was so good. Thank you. But yeah, so we started heading home our way. And as most of you guys know, we live on the Olympic Peninsula, but we were picking her up in the Puget Sound, so we have to go over the Hood Canal floating bridge.
Well, should we say first?
Which?
Should we say first that we both had the we were just like not quite sure that the weather you were like something about the weather and traffic, or it was mainly traffic, huh?
Well, yeah, because initially when she gave me the
Like,
days
I
that
don't
she
know
was
about
available
Friday.
to drive her,
Yeah.
I was like, I am not going to, like, I grew up in Chicago, lived in LA for almost a decade. I was like, I lived in Portland, I lived around Olympia area.
Mhm.
I was like, I am not fucking going in rush hour traffic on a Friday in Silverdale. I'm like, it is nuts there.
Yeah.
It's like the go between like it's the one bridge that takes you up to the peninsula. Anyway, so and it's one lanes and like
Yeah.
through the like woods and stuff. And I was like, no,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Like, let's just go in and out.
Yeah, and I was like,
Make it
so
fast.
I go, so unless we do it in and out. And Lori was like, how about 1 o'clock? And I was like, I kind of wanted to go earlier, but I was like, no, I want them to have time together.
Mhm.
So we had this like hemming and hawing about like what should happen. But that day, Zoe texted me in the morning and she said, you know,
What about
hey,
11?
how about 11?
Mhm.
But unfortunately, we had planned things around it that way. And like, I was like cleaning and doing stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm like, I'm not going to make it. I'm like, there's no way we'll make it by 11. And I didn't want to go around lunchtime because there's like, it's like such a hub for like restaurants and stuff. And so I was like, no, let's just leave it at 1. And,
Yeah.
you know, and I thought to myself, if we got carried away, we would just wait until after rush
Mhm.
hour. I was like, there's things we could do. We can go out to eat. Like there was,
Yeah.
so I wasn't concerned about it. Well, us thinking getting in and out didn't really go that way because we were less than, I think, 12. I think
we pushed it to 2:30.
Oh yeah, then we pushed it to 2:30.
That's a huge part of the story.
That's right. Yes, you're right. We pushed it to 2:30. That's fucking right. I almost forgot.
2
yes.
and then 2:30.
2 and then 2:30.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like the day got away, and I don't want to get into all that and
Yeah.
waste time, but long story short, we were on our way out of town at 4 o'clock, which was perfect because it's Friday, but still not too bad. And
Traffic
everything
should be
was
light.
good. Yeah, traffic was fine.
Yeah.
We were flowing, everything was good, and then all of a sudden it was a stop, and it was a dead stop, and we were like on a hill, and like we could see that it was stopped for a long time. Like we could see, like we're like, what is happening? And or I should say we're at the bottom of the hill looking up.
Yeah.
And very long story short, we were there for 4 hours.
Yeah.
4 hours.
If not 4.5.
4.5 hours in the car.
Yep.
Because we found out after, of course, now we have phones. Thank God us, you know, that we got to find out that semi truck jackknifed on the bridge and took out part of the guardrail, which we didn't find about that part
Yeah.
later.
They think it was due to like high winds or something.
Yeah, and
so
the
it's
winds
pretty
were
windy.
really, really bad. And so the way where we live, you either go over the bridge or you have to go all the way back down and go all the way back up. And where we were, it was about 3 hours. And
Yeah.
so if we went across the bridge, we were like 45 minutes, like once you know. So yeah. And we were only like 10 miles from the bridge or something.
Yeah.
Not even. I don't even know. Because I can't remember if it was minutes or
It was
miles.
hard to tell because we were stopped
Yes.
for so long.
And then we would inch and inch and inch, and we were like, and then we'd see cars come back this way, and we're like, oh, they're opening it up. And then we started to realize, are they just giving up and going the other
They're
way?
just turning around.
And it made the news. It was a really big deal.
It
They
did.
closed it because it's the only bridge there to get people from like Port Townsend and like the whole into the peninsula on the north side of the peninsula. So yeah, on a Friday night, yeah, it was fucking news. It was a big deal. So I got the vibe after about 2 hours, maybe, I think.
Yeah.
I was like,
We
you
were
guys,
patient. We waited
we
for a
were
while.
really patient. And I said, I think it's going to open tonight, but I don't think it's going to open like right away.
Yeah.
Like if it is, it maybe before midnight, and at that point it had been like 6:30. So maybe like 2 hours. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
No
I'm like,
food either.
Yeah,
You guys hadn't eaten.
yeah, we hadn't eaten any food. Like we had snacks and stuff that we got at the grocery store, but like no like meals. And so, and I had no weed. God help me. And right, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, I'm in. And people are like antsy. People are turning their cars on and off, and the lights on. And it was
Getting
just,
out,
it was
going in the
crazy.
road.
Yes, people were walking around. I mean, we were there for 4 hours. It was insane. And why we all fucking kept going? It's like, why, we don't really know, but we did. Everybody pressed on. We were like, we will press on, like we will make it happen. And it was like a really bizarre thing. So so after about 2 hours, I just said, you guys, everybody get quiet, I gotta sit with Spirit for a minute. And so all of a sudden I got quiet and I heard, well, it's either you sit here for 3 hours or you move for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And we were like, and I go, well, I don't know about you guys. I'm like, I'd rather move, you know. And then it was like, I don't even know why we stayed.
I don't know either.
Like, I don't know. I think none of us wanted to give up.
Nobody really spoke up, so we just
sat. Nobody had it. And I was like, and at one point I almost yelled at us. I'm like, there's 3 of us fucking mediums in the car. I'm like, how can we not come together? We were like, what is wrong?
We all had our gut feelings, but we didn't want to be.
We didn't act on them.
We didn't want to act on it.
Nobody wanted to be responsible.
We didn't want to be responsible.
Nobody wanted to be responsible.
Oh, well, you said to go back, so.
And at that point, like we were at like kind of, I'm like, well, I'm eating chips, so I guess I'm eating something. Like we were, yeah, it was getting snippy and like tired. We were all tired, and it was funny. I mean, we love each other. It was funny.
Now
like,
it's funny.
Now it's funny. But it got to a point where I was like, I'm gonna lose my fucking noodle, and I need to get high like right now. Like it's not. I'm like, you guys, I'm just saying, like that's my medicine. Like I'm like, I thought we were gonna quick go get her, whatever. And so we ended up finally after 4 hours. When the thing, because we kept checking the updates, and every hour they'd say it's going to open in 60 minutes, and an hour from, and they would update the time. When it updated it again at 8 o'clock and said it would be open in an hour, and there was the same thing, I'm like, no fucking way. I'm like, I'm like, you know what? I go, I'm done. I'm like, I'm done. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't care if it opens in 20 minutes. I'm like, we're driving 3 hours. I'm like, I'm not waiting until, I'm like, if it's 3 hours home, I was like, it's already after 8. And I said, we've been in here, you know?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
So I do remember after, I think it was the first time that it said, 60 minutes it's going to open, we saw the truck. That was jackknifed. Yes. So we're like, we'll just stay.
She saw it first. She goes, that's the truck.
Alder did.
Oh, he did? Oh, I thought it was you.
And then but I looked really close, like.
Yeah, and I wasn't looking. I was at my phone doing the checkups or something, or I think I was checking the weather or something. But all of a sudden, I look up and it went by kind of fast, and they go, "That's the truck," and it was a tow truck taking a semi out, and it was so cute. Zoe's like, "Well, I think it is." I mean, it was literally like the truck goes like cut in half or whatever you said, and I was like,
it had a big dent in it.
And like her and Alder are like, no, they're like that. And Alder was being Alder. He goes, nope, that's it. Man, he was convinced it was it. And I was like, my pendulum might come. I don't think it was. Anyway, so that was hopeful to us because we were like, well, that has been removed. What else? And then what was our final given was Alder texted his cousin who's familiar with the area and goes back and forth on the bridge a lot and asked him what he thought. And he goes, oh, that's so fucking weird. It just came up on the news. They took out part of the guardrail. And I go, yeah, we're done. You think they're going to open a 2-lane floating bridge on water that's 150 feet that doesn't have a fucking guardrail? I'm pretty sure that's not opening tonight. I'm like, we're leaving. And so that was that. And we left. And then we had an interesting time home. But it was kind of fun too, though.
It was fun. The whole experience
was, we got to hang out. We were just, the car was off. We were sitting there with snacks. I'm like, weed would be perfect. I go, if I had weed right now and something to pee in, I'd be totally fine.
Yeah. You're like, I'll just be kicked back here, eat some chips.
I go, I'll smoke some weed, eat some chips. I go, we'll be totally fine. But it was like, no. I was like, oh, because, we have no seats in our van because Alder uses it for work. So I'm like leaning back on a propane tank. I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? And she's like, I'll go back there. And she's like, 5'10", 5'9", with her long, beautiful legs. And I'm like this big. And I'm like, no, dude, I'll come back here. I mean, I sit like this all the time anyway. So yeah, so we got home, and then we got to the weed place before it closed at midnight. It all worked out, but it was just like, what the fuck? We both felt something like not to do it on the 3rd. And she was like, we have to do it earlier. And like, we just didn't listen.
I even was fully packed and ready to go the day before.
Wednesday. And I wanted to come and get her.
Alder, Wednesday.
I said to Alder, I go, I feel like we should go get her early. Like, we
Yeah.
don't have to meet her mom. I'm like, let's just go down there. Like, let's
Yeah.
just go. We can make a day of it. We'll go get her. We'll go shopping. We'll, come back.
Right.
Like, I was totally fine with it. It's 2 hours each way. I'm like, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And we've done that before. We go hiking and spend 2 hours each way, driving to a mountain. So I was like, it's fine. But we just didn't. And we kept we kept
pushing.
We kept pushing
plan.
against what was the flow, the actual
intuition.
natural flow that we both felt we should do.
Yeah.
And so we were like, that's why we were like so frustrated. And in the car, I almost started crying because I was just like, I fucking knew it. I'm like, I knew we weren't supposed to do anything today, or like not that.
Yeah.
I was like, it was beyond the traffic. I was like, I don't know how to explain it. I just felt like we weren't supposed to do it. And I was like, and sometimes it could be as simple as like, oh, they don't have my favorite nuts at that store I like to go to. Like, you know what I mean? It's something so trivial I'm making up, to that. A fucking bridge out. There's no other way to get there. And it also made me very aware of where we live now. And that we really do live out in the middle, like that the only other choice is to go back down and go up the, the canal. Which was fun, it was in the dark, but it was still fun. And so it was really interesting. And then the whole weekend has kind of been like that. Then Saturday, I'm not going to go into this. I'm literally going to lightly freaking...
Should I stop you if you...
Yes, please. With everything we are to each other, please. Okay. So those of you who know what's going on, we are, as of this moment, we are definitely not moving into the cabin. And I'm okay with that. I've made peace with it. I've said this many times that if this was a placeholder, if this was whatever, I'm totally okay with that. I'm in gratitude for what it's taught me, what it's brought me. I learned how to really live off the grid, and it's been a really awesome, interesting experience, and I wouldn't trade it for anything, for real. Even the darkest of the darkest moments, I wouldn't trade it for anything. And I love these people. It's just I cannot get caught up in their world anymore, and it's just not working for us. Saturday, she and I had a whole day planned, and it was completely foiled. I mean, it was like we were about to begin our day, and someone showed up at our door without announcement, and my phone was off. And then they were like trying to call me, and then they were like mad that like my phone was off and they couldn't get a hold of me. After I told them that I was like off the grid and it wouldn't be reachable, it was inappropriate, disrespectful, and they didn't know she was coming. But it's not I don't have to tell them that she's, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, that's not part of like anyway.
Yeah.
So those of you know, I'm a triple Sag, and my moon's in Scorpio. Full moon in Leo. If you saw my little shorts about the good, the bad, and the ugly that this kind of moon brings out,
that just sums it up.
Pretty much
there.
That was it. We were in the shadow of the full moon on Saturday, and I lost my shit. And it was ugly, and I was upset, and I was crying, and Zoe had to deal with it all day. It happened 2 different times, like after I dealt with them, then they left, and then came back, and it was... And the person, like, don't shoot the messenger, right? Like, the person I like I didn't, but the situation was so messed up.
Yeah.
And I was verbally, and I was so glad she was here to witness it, because I was like, man, if this ever, like, whatever. She literally said at one point, she goes, I think I was here to be a witness.
I feel like I was just here to be a witness and hold space.
Yeah. Because I said, I'm like, I'm sorry, your trip is ruined, because she was only going to be here from Friday to Monday, but it was like the whole fucking day.
Yeah.
Saturday was taken up by like this bullshit in the cabin, and like arguing about this and that, and like things coming to a head, and wow, it went so wrong, so it went south fast.
I mean, as much as it went south, I'm just grateful to be here. Like, it didn't ruin it for me.
Yeah.
I just
yesterday definitely made up for it.
Yesterday was
fun. Like,
yesterday
totally made up for it.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is your phone nearby?
It is.
Oh my gosh, will you please bring up the donkey video?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we'll do it at some point.
Okay.
We'll talk about that. So Saturday was super rough. We got past it. We got through it. Alder came home and he was like, what the fuck happened? Because he went to work. And so then yesterday I woke up and it was the full moon. And if you know, it was like, for me where I live, at its peak was like in the morning, like I think at 10 in the morning. And so when I woke up and like we all came together, I just started crying, and I was like, I'm like, you guys go. We had a whole day planned, and I'm like, you guys go. I'm like, this moon's hitting me hard. I was super emotional. Were you guys emotional? Like, did you have a tough time? Because we did. And honestly, it was just like one of those things where I felt like so much of her trip, like first, we pick her up, we're stuck in fucking traffic. You know what I mean? I was just like, what else? Like, and it's not us, obviously, right? But talk about energy and timing and flow and whatever. And even so, Alder said this morning, he goes, I'm glad it all happened that way though. Even everything, all the way, because I feel like we got more closure. I feel like we've been like, she's like, you guys are troopers. What did you say?
I said, if anybody else were in this position that they're in, they would have been gone by now. Like, yeah, you guys are troopers for sticking it out and just dedication.
Yeah, because it's really dreamy, patient. Right? You see the dreamy part of this place.
Totally, I do.
And the witchy coolness.
Yeah, I do.
But it's just, that's where it's like, if it walks like a duck, exactly. Yes, thank you. I was gonna say, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, like, don't try and make it a donkey, right? And it's like, that's what this was. And it was like, and every time I tried to walk away, he would give me something else. And it was just a really good lesson of like what I dealt with my family and growing up, and manipulation, and then this very gaslighting and narcissistic behavior where it's like, do for me, okay, I'll do for you. And then when they want something, but you don't want to do it because it's like against your morals and principles, they get mad at you. It's like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Like, you don't respect my boundaries, you don't respect me. And so it just was all, So like, I know she's supposed to be here, but at the same time, you're like, isn't that interesting? Yeah, it's just so interesting. And also it could have been that she was supposed to be here, but like not Friday.
Right.
Like, you were supposed to be here and all this. Because now she's like, do you want me to help you pack? You know what I mean? It went from, do you want to help me paint? We literally, Lori gifted our family paint. It went from, do you want to paint, like, to
like get the house ready,
to I'll help you move. And I was like, oh my God. And we're only laughing about this because I've been through a lot, which you guys know. I try to do the readings or put them out on the day or do them on the day. We did do spirit work yesterday, she and I. We took some phenomenal photos, and like, we just had fun, and we did a blessing. That's why you saw us burning. Mm-hmm. Like, we did ritual, but so here we are, and it makes more sense to do it on Moon Day and all that. And it's been really great. It's been really magical. It's been one of the most amazing times I've ever had in my life. But it really has. But at the same time, it's just been like also like one of the most stressful weekends I've had in memory. Like, really bad. Just too much, where you guys know I can't take too much. And I even today, Alder's like, let's go to the store. I'm like, you just need to handle that, brother. I was like, I literally can't. Like, I cannot. I was like, I can't, because yesterday we went out after, it was like Friday all day, and through all that, it was like being in a city, it's like a small suburb, but it's got that city vibe where it's like busy and there's freeways and all that. And like, you can feel my energy, like, sorry to bring it down. I need to bring it down. And now it's like, yesterday Alder wanted to show her around, because his family's from here. So we went and did that, and it was super sweet and super magical. And she brought in the elks.
Yes, the elk medicine.
Yes, which she's going to read something from you today. And we saw a whole herd.
What do you herd? Yeah. I was like, what do you call it?
A whole herd.
Yeah, a whole herd.
But we did see a pack of wolves too, because then we took her to the wildlife place, and we saw bison and elk, except for they were like kept out. But we saw literally, we were sightseeing and saw a herd of elk just out.
Yeah.
And that was really magical.
On the side of the road, just pulled off.
And the best part about it was the elks were so close to like where the water was. So they were like by these trees, and then there was an opening of trees, and you could see the strait. So it's like saltwater, Canada across, and then like a herd of elk. Like, it was fucking magic. It was so cool. Perfect. So we saw that, and like, everything we did after that was like really awesome. Mm-hmm. We saw the sunset, on our favorite, beach and everything. But the highlight was this. And maybe those of you who know my horses and my, like, how much I love horses, in the last few years, I've really gotten into donkeys, And at this wildlife place, all of the animals are in one big place, and they've got the wolves here. It's like a zoo, but like not a zoo. You know what I mean? Like, they're more like, it's just a wildlife preserve.
It's a wildlife, like a refuge?
Mm-hmm, yes.
A refuge?
Yeah. So they're free, but it's like, they're not free,
Yeah.
But they're all rescues. Yeah. Like, they're mostly rescues, or like people, and so they have all these different animals. Well, on the other side of the road, they have it used to be on both sides of the road, but over the years, you know, if people don't come and people don't donate, I mean, the herd of bison alone, I mean, it's like, I don't even know. And all the wolves, like how much food they have to have every day to like feed them, you know? So it's really expensive. Yeah. So anyway, I haven't seen any animals on the other side for years. I've been coming up here for almost 8 years, and I haven't seen them since the first time we came up here, and then we just never really seen them again. So we're coming around the way, and I heard, look to the left, and I looked to the left, and I'm like, I don't see anything, and all of a sudden I go, pull over the car, or something. I was like, pull over, and I go, it's a donkey.
She's like, I love donkeys.
I'm like, I love donkeys. I'm like, pull over the car. So Alder pulls over the car. I jump out, and I was like, hey, and I like called to him. Zoe got out of the car, and as I was crossing the street, the rest happened. So
yeah.
So I don't know how we're gonna do it, but
we'll make it work.
We'll make it work. It's so cute. This happened.
Okay. Make sure the volume
is
up. Oh!
It's okay. It's okay.
There we go.
I love you. I love you. I know. Oh, talk to me. Tell me. Hi, baby.
I just love watching it.
You're so sweet. How beautiful. How beautiful you are. Hello, my friend. Hi. Can I pet you? Would you like to be touched? Hi. You can't eat. No, but you are beautiful. Look at him. We called him Ralphie.
I don't know if he liked it though.
We don't know if he liked it. We're not sure. Okay, so there's that. And then like she sent me some other video that I'm going to post for you guys. But like it went from that to like literally like Zoe like left and I was like, come here. And like he put his head and we were like talking and he was telling me all about him. Oh my gosh, it was the cutest thing in the world. He was getting upset when I was trying to leave and he was like doing that thing where he was putting his head into me and like on my hand. Yeah, like he was like this on my hand and stuff and I was giving him kisses. It was the cutest thing. And he has this curly hair on his head. I was dying. I'm like, this is the cutest thing I've ever seen. And I said, but once I said, I live here, I'll come back and visit. His whole body changed. And he was like, okay. And he went back to eat. And I was like, let's go. Yeah. And then I took the video. Sorry. No, you're okay. And like the video on myself, I'm like, what just happened? But it was like that kind of magical day. Like the ravens were following us and talking to us. The eagles. And I was telling her about when Layla, my shaman, came to visit. We went to 3 different places on the peninsula in one day, 2 hours apart, and saw 3 eagles at a time. Yesterday, we said the same thing happened to us.
Yep.
It was crazy. Like everywhere we went, we saw eagles, and we were seeing 3 of them.
The other day, we saw an eagle.
Yeah, above the
Yeah.
So just crazy, cool, the eagle medicine awesome. Yeah.
It's here.
Yeah. It's here. So, with all of our stories, I hope you enjoyed them. I am going to shuffle the cards and see what comes through. Do you want to? Because I want them to. I was pulled for Zoe to read. And she felt it too. And she was like, the elk, I said, whatever you feel. And she actually went to the fox first. And she was like, oh, but it's eared. Like, maybe that's why.
It just opened up to the page.
Yeah, but it opened up to the page. So if we have time and Spirit wants us to, we'll do the fox as well. But we both feel like the elk for sure is, just because it just
makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. And even since I've lived up here, like there's an elk crossing sign, like across the street from my house. And I know that we've seen elk poop, but I've not seen any elk since we've been up here. And then we saw them with her yesterday. Yeah. So I feel like that's not an accident. Not only that, but while we were looking at the elk, a whole beautiful V-shaped line of geese went over them. So if that has been coming to you, if you've been seeing geese, I just want to put that out there if it's meant to come up. So do you want to read first or do you want to do cards first? I will let you decide. I'm going to pull the cards out and I'm going to let you decide.
I guess I could read while you're...
I don't know. Is that distracting? Am I going to be... I'll let... If you want to read first, I'll let you read and then because I just realized that might be distracting.
Yeah. I was thinking it might work.
But do you want me to do cards first or do you want to read first?
If we have a couple decks, maybe cards, I'll read and then...
I think we're just doing this one, but they might... This one... I don't know if this one was pulled in... I almost feel like we're meant to do a second video or something. Oh, okay, here's one. Maybe that's it. Maybe we'll just maybe
We'll just start with the cards and end with the reading.
Well, and you guys, I wanted to do like a big thing and be like, I call on your higher selves and my higher selves. I call on our spirit guides, our animal guides, the ancestors. Like I wanted to do like one of my big prayers and like really get into it and be like, yeah, let's like do the shaker. Like I want to do all spiritual, but I really feel like this is more like who we are, and we're
the real deal.
Yes,
the
and
real,
we are divinely protected, and they're with us all the time. You know, we're from the angel realm. It is part of our. You know, anyway, so that might be it, you guys. Oh, just 2 cards. So now I know we have 2 cards. None of us know what they are. I'm going to put the moonstone on it. And I feel like you should read, but I will let you decide.
I'll read.
Okay.
I can read.
Yay!
The moonstone fell off.
Oh, sorry, moonstone. I'm going to get my little water. Did you guys see my cute little blessed mug? Okay.
All right. I'll show you the picture first. So this is the elk. Beautiful elk.
And let me make sure that we're in focus because my camera's old. Okay. Ooh, 4456 and then 4457 if that means anything, you guys.
Interesting.
Okay.
Elk. Your antlers reach for the sun. Show me that strength and stamina are one. And it's number 3. Stamina. Elk wandered through the forest looking for a partner. The mating season was in full swing, and the bucks that usually traveled with the other males had disappeared to find their mates for the season. As Elk bellowed his mating call through the forest, his bugling, I've never heard
Bugling.
that. Bugling? I was like, I've never heard that word
and
before.
And also you may want to read louder because I just realized my camera's further away than I normally am.
Okay.
So you may want to speak
Awesome.
up. If you feel like you're yelling, you're probably okay.
Okay.
Not yelling, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Mountain lion that a feast could be in the making. Mountain lion circled elk, getting closer to his prey moment by moment. Elk sensed the impending danger when the forest grew suddenly silent. He broke for the high country when he spotted his pursuer, but Mountain lion was far behind. As elk made a running leap for the timberline, Mountain lion gained on him, but elk continued to run onward, displaying tremendous stamina. Finally, Mountain lion gave up, having spent his energy in spurts as he tried to jump over boulders to reach elk. Elk paced himself, making headway as he climbed skyward to the high country. Elk had no other defense except his ability to go the distance, setting a pace that allowed him to utilize his stamina and energy to the fullest. Elk medicine teaches that pacing yourself will increase your stamina. Elk medicine people may not be the first ones to arrive at a goal, but they always arrive without getting burnt out.
Like they say, like Gandalf, a wizard arrives exactly when they're meant to. See, like we were just talking, timing, and when we try to force it.
It resonates so much with my life right now.
Yes.
Too. I feel like a lot of people are going through that.
I was literally just saying, I feel like this is like all of us right now, right? Like there's some of us like the mountain lion that's like trying to get there fast and it's like I'm gonna go here and it's like jump and the elk's like I'm gonna keep going in my study, I'll get there, I'll be there.
It's like the tortoise and the hare.
Yes,
it's exactly like the tortoise and the hare.
Yeah, and I mean and you guys know that's been our theme for a long time, right? It's like the turtle has been coming to us for a long time. I know for Jessica, it's a little wink she knows what I'm talking about. But you know, it's like the turtles. I think a turtle would be a good animal for us to work with too over the rest of this moon. So if any of these animals resonate with you, you just like Google them, look them up, you know, on your own. If we had more time, I would read more, but we're already here and, you know. Go ahead.
If you have taken on too much recently, it might be a good idea to look at how you plan to finish what you have started without ending up in the hospital. That's crazy. Because of your situation too.
Oh, like finish what we started before we end up in the hospital?
The other person.
Oh, finish with them?
What they started.
Oh, finish what they started. Yeah. Well, that was the thing that was like so frustrating about our situation was like I was showing her when we were in the house. I'm like, you see all these unfinished projects, and I'm like, I go, this is what has been driving me crazy. And then like when we like spoke with other people that are dealing with them, they're like, that's their MO. Like they don't finish anything. And I was like, oh, well, there you go. And he was like, do you want the house? I go, I want the house as long as he's not attached to it. I'm like, if I can just take the house and like push him out and like take it as it is and rent to buy and like do what we were going to do, I'm like, absolutely. But I'm like going at his pace over 6 months, waiting for fucking this all to happen when he feels like it. I'm like, this isn't working for us like anymore. Like it's too much. And I think it's like that's what, but we kept having the stamina.
Yeah.
Which she's like, everybody else would have gave up. It's like, yeah, but we were like trying. We were like, we want this. This is our dream. Like, this is what we want. So yeah, we're going to keep going. But at what point do you just finally go, you know,
do it anymore.
I can't do it anymore,
Yeah.
or it's not healthy for me anymore.
Yeah.
Because can we keep doing this and wait? Sure, I could live like this. We're halfway through winter. I've gotten through the worst fucking part. I'm like, we can stay in here till summer if we had to. Honestly, I've figured it out. It's not fun, but I got a system and a rhythm. You know what I mean? But it's like at the other side of it, it's like, but you know, do I want to? No, but if it's in the greatest and highest good and this is what I'm supposed to do, I will do it.
Yeah.
But the other side of that is, if it's literally making me sick and stressing me out and like, you know, that is not right.
No.
So that's how I decide, like, when enough is enough.
Yeah.
When it's like on my health, when self-care has been ignored because I can't have self-care. And I can in my own world, but if I have somebody constantly at me who's ungrounded and unbalanced and they're like, it's like, whoa, it's like dodging fucking, you know, bullets. And that's why a lot of you know, if you're part of this and you know we were, you know, friends before, or we were clients and we don't really talk anymore, it's like, it's not personal. It's just like, if people are at where they're at in their life, it's like, I love you and I will hold space for you and I will pray for you when you come into my mind. I send you back love. I send you prayers, but at the end, peace. But if I'm feeling anxious energy around them, I'm like, no, because that's not right. Like, I can't do what I do. That's why I'm like, the fact that she's been here since Friday and it's Monday and we're 3 of us are staying in a 1-bedroom RV, you know what I mean? It's like, that's love, baby.
Yeah.
That's also energy. That's energy that we know how to deal with each other, how to, like, when I was going to give up yesterday, I'm like, no, just go, you guys go and have fun. And it wasn't like a pity thing. I really was like, I just can't stop this right now. So I need to let it work its way out. They held space for me. I worked it out. And then she was like, you'll feel better. And I did. And all that magic happened, you know? So if you have it, feel it, work through it, but then move on.
Yeah.
Don't dwell in it. I needed to let it go. And most of my crying yesterday was the moon and all that, but also it was, I felt relief in one way, but I also felt like I just lost my dream again. And started crying, like, but that was why I was kind of sad, was because I told her, I said, I feel like at 51, I just get so close, so close, so close. And I work so hard. And I'm just like, what am I doing wrong? You know what I mean? Not to be the victim, but I'm just like, I'll fix it. Tell me what to do. Yeah. And I feel like at this point, it's not about getting the answers and somebody telling me what to do. It's just like, it just is.
Yeah.
Life just is. And it's not like we have to have some plan. And once you get to this, you know, it does feel like sometimes, right? You get to the finish line and they move it again.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fucking fuck? And yesterday
was a metaphor for being in traffic and it's 60 minutes and then we're like, yes, we're here. And then it's like, oh, just kidding. Another 60 minutes. It's a metaphor.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. And at the same time, like when we watched the video back of the donkey, we were laughing so hard I was like crying. Will you hand me a tissue behind you?
Yeah.
Thank you. Tell me, go ahead. We were what?
It just went, I don't know.
No, we were laughing so hard from the donkey.
Yeah, we were laughing so hard from the donkey. Our stomachs were tense and we were crying and
it was like this great moment of release. Like it was like we did so much.
It was a belly laugh.
Yes, like where I was like I felt like my stomach was gonna twist in half because I was like laughing so hard and like tears were like flying out of my face because I didn't know she got the video of the donkey because I just ran out. I didn't give a shit. I was like, it's an old country road. Like nobody was coming, but I was like, hey buddy, like, you know, like we knew each other. And he was just like, hey, what's up? And so I was like, where is my fucking camera when I need it? So when she said I videotaped it, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to watch it. So we watched it when we came home and we were just, I guess I just wasn't expecting it. And then like to see the video and his hair curled and everything, he just was so precious. And we were just like, not fuck humans really, but just more like we love animals so much, but we were just like, how awesome, you know what I mean? Like to us, like that's a gift, like that's nature, and like we were just blessed all day long, just blessed. And it's like, what do you look at? Do you look at the negative, like, oh shit, now we lost the house? Or do we look at it like she went up there and I was like, I know, I trust you implicitly. I'm like, I want you to tell me like what you feel. And she did the same fucking thing I did from day one. It's cute. I mean, she's like, of course you can make it look cool, you know, like she was just like, you know, but at the same time, she was like, I just don't really feel you here. Like, you know,
it was more of the feeling, like the look of the cabin. It's beautiful. The view is beautiful, but it's just that gut feeling, like, oh, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah. Because I even said to her, I'm like, if he wasn't attached, our landlord, I'm like, if it was just, I'm like, would you feel the same way? She's like, I don't know. I go, that's how I feel. Because it's like he's tainted it so bad that I can't. And then, like, his behavior on Saturday was so off the, like, I just was, that was it. I was like, I don't give a shit what he says from now on. I'm like, nobody talks to me like that. Nobody leaves me. And that's a little ego, but really just more like nobody talks to me like that because I won't allow somebody to talk to me like that. I deserve more respect, you know, and especially what we've been through. I was like, no way do you threaten me and my family. There's no fucking way that's going to happen in my universe. I'm out. And that was it. So, but the lessons were learned, and that's why it got to the point with my family too. It was the same way where I was like, I won't allow you to bully me anymore. I won't allow you to pressure me anymore. I'm not going to do it because you want me to do it. I'm not going to, you know, it doesn't feel right. And I'm telling you, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. I'm not going to do it. So I'm like, okay, then you want to threaten me? I'm going to take you up on that. We're gone. Mm-hmm. Don't fucking threaten me. And it's funny because his one family member was like, he's like, man, that's your Southside Chicago. And I'm like, that's right.
Yep.
That's right. Because we're no nonsense. Like, I love you. I will hold space for you. I will be your fucking champion. You fuck me over, I'll forgive you. I'll forgive you. I forgive you to the point where I'm like, you're gone.
Yeah.
Enough is enough.
Yeah. Continuing on with the elk.
She's like la la la. That's hilarious.
Elk have a curious kind of warrior energy because, except at mating time, they honor the company of their own gender. They can call upon on the medicine of the brotherhood or sisterhood in discovering the strength which is gained from loving the gender that is your own. I feel like oftentimes there can be this resistance because of jealousy, and I'm speaking for myself.
Yes.
Of jealousy or, yeah, I think for me it just comes down to jealousy, but there's other reasons too, I feel like.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Also, by the way, isn't it interesting that you're talking about that? And that when we saw the elk, they were fighting each other, and the lady next to us said, "Well, that's weird. That's kind of out of season." But it was like it was like a thing. They were fighting each other. The bulls, all the males were fighting. It was a very interesting thing and she's like a professional photographer. She had this whole thing going on, and she was like, turn around, because she had this great shot, and we were all like trying to bring the energy from to turn around. He turned around, she got a good shot, but it was like an intense moment. Like we were far from the field and you could feel it. Like you can feel like that there was like, so, but
it wasn't playful.
Yes. And I've also been around elk where I know what they're saying, the brotherhood, where they're like standing tall together and they wouldn't even think about it, but it's instinctual that they're fighting at mating season. That's so fucking interesting.
So they can call upon the medicine of brotherhood or sisterhood. In discovering the strength which is gained from loving the gender that is your own, you will feel the comradeship that arises from similarity of experience. And that's so true. I feel that.
Yes, I agree.
This is a special medicine that allows the friendship of others of your same sex to overcome the potential competition or jealousy. There we go. If you have picked elk medicine, you may be telling yourself to seek the company of your own gender for a while. You may need a support group to realign yourself with the stamina of the warrioress energy that you're a part of. This communication with others of your own sex allows you to air your feelings in safety and to get feedback from others who have had the same experiences. You may need a new sense of communication in unity.
Nice.
Elk could also be telling you to look at how you are holding up physically to the stresses in your life. Ironic.
Yes.
And to pace yourself so that you maintain an equilibrium of energy over the distance you plan to cover. Vitamins or high energy foods may be one solution, among with some personal quiet time for replenishment.
Wow, that was really good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, I was like, yeah, because I think it's, and it's interesting that we're segueing into self-care. That's why I kind of felt like that, because that's what I felt like that was saying is like, if you're not in that, like, if you're losing stamina and you're not, it's like, Spirit's like, here I am to save the day. So let's get into this and see what they have to say. Baba, do you want to come and sit with us? Teacher. Bubba's sitting right there. You want to come sit with us? Come here. Do you want to come sit with us? I'm doing that as if she ever really does that. Like, as if she ever goes, oh.
She's looking at you like, really?
I'm going to come sit next to you. I am a typical house cat. I'm going to, it's like, she like kind of, she just stop and kind of look up and look at me like, bitch, if I want to come over there, I will come over there. If I don't, I will do not. I will do not. That's hilarious. Okay, so our first card is Seek Nature. I'm like, does this shock me? No. Seek Nature. Also, you guys, it's number 25, which is the number 7. This number has been coming up a lot for us. This may be trying to fight us, so I don't know what's going to come in.
I'm like,
yeah. So Seek Nature 25. I mean, you know, you get that one.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense. Also, look how in the card it's the full moon.
Whoa. And it's funny today. You just went outside for a couple seconds and you're like, I'm going to take my socks off. I want to feel the earth.
Yeah, like I had to feel the earth today. I was just like, I had to like, I just needed to feel mud under my feet.
And I'm all about barefoot walking. That's how my Instagram name got. I mean, it was really intuitive.
That's right.
It just came to me. But barefoot guidance, like.
How far did you, she's been all over, but where, in that hike you showed me in Sedona, how far did you hike out barefoot into the mountains?
Oh, I didn't bring shoes.
Oh, she didn't bring shoes.
I didn't bring shoes, so the whole way.
And that's fucking brave, man. There's some like critters out there.
Well,
like,
critters, but cactus.
Cactus, yeah, you are brave. That's really brave.
Brave.
What is that? I was like, you are brave. No, but you are. That's really brave. Like that's I mean, I would probably at least bring them with and like put them in a backpack, you know, because
sometimes I would, but I remember that specific video you're talking about. I didn't bring anything that day.
That's interesting. So the number 7 is coming. Number 7 has been coming up a lot, and everything moves in cycles of 7. Not everything, but like in nature and life, like there's a lot of things that run in cycles of 7. If you guys remember when I was 49, I was excited to turn 49. When I looked down, it was 43 seconds, which is the number 7. Holy shit. Which means we're an hour over. Bless your patience. Hopefully you're, you know, I'm sure half the people probably like went off by now. They're like, bye-bye. But that was okay. I wanted to do this. I've always wanted to like have someone on. I always wanted to see what it would feel like. And I was like, let's just fucking do it. I'm like, my real people will love it. And if the other people don't, that's okay. Whatever. They'll do what they need to do. But yeah, I am feeling like, and I've been seeing 49s everywhere. So for some of you, maybe you're turning 49. We've been seeing, wasn't the book in page number 49?
49.
So, and it means it's also the number 13. 49 is the number 13. So that's the number that got us. You know, we've been talking about that a lot. But yeah, so 49 has been coming up. And I remember when I turned 49, it was really magical because 7 times 7 is 49. So you went through 7 cycles of 7. And I feel like it's a really magical number, and it could even be a number that's like reoccurring in your lives because I keep hearing it right now for some reason. Interesting that our first card was nature. The second card is stargaze.
Oh,
stargaze, and it's the cover of the Oracle deck, and it's number 30, which 3 is interesting. I went and got you, or we went and got you.
Number 3 as well.
The elk was number 3.
Yeah,
and we went and got her on the 3rd.
Oh my goodness. I didn't even put that together.
So, and I also feel like it's interesting too that like this deck, I mean, even though she's riding a moon, not every single card has a moon on it. So I also feel like for some of you, because we started with the moon and right now we just came off of the moon. I never know what it'll look when I'm like closer. Now that we just came off of the full moon, now we are in the waning gibbous. Okay. So in fact, I will be doing a waning gibbous reading this week sometime. I'm not sure when. But I think it's interesting that the first card is a full moon and they're kind of like starting now. Like not next week, not starting now. And then I'm also feeling like this looks more like a waxing crescent than a waning crescent. So I feel like after the next moon cycle, once we have the new moon in Pisces, I think it's on the 20th. I didn't bring any of my calendars or anything down. But remember we were talking about this before where I felt like more towards like the new moon, this next new moon phase, we're going to feel better. But what I really think is going to push off 2023, because we were discussing it, she feels the same, that like 2023, it's like my robe meets a sweater and it's like I'm all like bunched up. We were saying that 2023 we feel is like a really magical year.
Yeah.
So I don't believe it's gonna feel that way for us. I feel like we're still coming off of 2022.
Yeah.
And even with him, I thought about this just now. Think about this. We started there in the summer of 2022, like in this process.
That's wild to think about.
And it wouldn't surprise me if we will be completely out of here by the beginning of Aries season, which will be the and also he's a Pisces, which is the end of the zodiac. You know what I mean? Like an ending. Like it's very, very interesting. And also realizing that like every time he's gotten upset or whatever, we've forgiven his behavior. But this time I'm just like, no. I even said to his family, do you think he has early onset dementia? Like I can forgive a lot of behavior if it's not your fault. You know what I mean? Like if you're having, you know, I get it. Yeah. But this was just like, I mean, the hate and the you aren't doing what I want energy. Isn't that what you felt? I mean, that's what I felt. And that's when I was like, I am not going to be bullied and I won't be in a situation where I'm bullied. And why would I sign a lease and live somewhere where I'm that will rear its ugly head when they don't get what they want or like something happens or what if the contract goes south. But I learned a lot, and I learned a lot about the process of renting Dubai, which I didn't know before. So, you know, it's just a learning lesson. It's all good. Everything's going to happen the way it is. So that's that. But yeah, so I think for us too, like it might be interesting if we end up being somewhere completely different because I you guys know my homemade deck. Actually, for shits and giggles, I think we should play. I was wondering, you kept saying another deck was going to come in. You guys know I have my this may have my phone's not fancy, so if this broke off into two pieces, I apologize. When I looked down, it was 505, which is 10 is about completion. 5 is about transformation, and it's interesting that it said 505. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like 1 hour and 5 minutes and 5 seconds. So it's like, okay, but even that's 11 if you add it together, like 1 hour. But I do feel like 5s are about change and transformation, and then the 0, and then it's like I almost feel like they're saying you were in a transformational period, and then like you had like kind of a buffer in between, and it's like, you know, and you had to go through it and gain the other 5 to complete it. Yeah, it's like, I feel like ka-chunk. So who knows? I don't know exactly how that's going to go down, but I have a feeling that it's going to be something like that because when I kept pulling my cards, every time I'd ask about it, I kept hearing Aries and summer, Aries and summer. And I was like, I'm not dealing with any Aries. I asked if it was an Aries.
And Aries is spring?
Yes. And I literally felt Aries season. Like, I didn't feel it was a person. I didn't feel like it was, you know, ooh, what's the thing right here? I'm getting a flutter. Whatever this organ is on my left. Is that my pancreas? Anyway, you think I'd know after my pancreatitis. Yeah. But anyway, it's fluttering right now. And we were looking it up yesterday because I was having these pains in my side when I was like...
In the liver.
Yes, and I was like... And then we researched it and it was everything I was going through. Anger. Resentment, frustration. Yeah. Ah, but it all ties in together. You know, it's like it doesn't matter. It ties in together. Ooh, dragon. Oh. So, let me just see if any messages come through for anybody. Spirit, do you have... This came through for Zoe yesterday, and so it could be for her, could be for you too. Whenever I see it like this one, this is the Red Hot Love. So that has to do with romantic relationships. So there's something there. And also this dragon wants to be shown.
It's funny, I also pulled the dragon.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
So there's something there. Ooh, no. I don't know which way it's going. But if you were wanting an answer to a question, I'm hearing no. Because actually when they had me grab the cards, I'm like, do you want me to ask again? Like, I don't feel like I need to bring my personal thing in. And they were like, no. So I guess you guys feel free to ask questions if you want to ask any more questions. Or think of it this way. If you were thinking about something, your answer was no. You know what I mean? Like, so let me see. Are there any more? Do you have any more messages for the tribe from anything, for anything? Just tell me. Because we need to wrap it up. It's really long. Okay. Oh, wow. It's like, I almost feel like it was like a crowd of people and I felt like spirit went like this into a form a line. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just like, okay. So here's one. Ooh, this is like an energy. Ooh, energy, love. Okay. So when it's like this in green, love is the heart chakra. The green is heart chakra, right? And energy is energy, but I use it for green, like, and we were talking about nature. So I feel like spirit's trying to say like connect with nature. The stargaze is like, if you're not somebody who's like really into going outside in nature, like we were talking about like getting barefoot, then go outside and watch the stars. Look, connect, look up. Sometimes I look up, I'm even like, hi air. Family. Yes.
Yeah, family. Even just like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, just a breath of fresh air, just to change the scenery. Because, especially if you're somewhere in the Northern Hemisphere where you're in winter, And it's like, you know, the house gets really stagnant. The windows aren't open. Air's not flowing through. Even in the winter, open your windows and let the air flow through. You know, you can always let it reheat, but it's really important to air that out. And smudge, I'm hearing smudge for some of you, but also I'm hearing I'm hearing like your energy is really depleted, and Spirit saying it's because your heart chakra is empty, because you're giving more love to everybody else but yourself. So you can't fill someone else's cup if yours is empty. You can't share anything with anybody if you don't have anything to give. So focus on your heart chakra, and this is for all of us really, but focus on your heart chakra and your energy and connecting them together. And when you're having like a situation with maybe, you know, a personality that, you know, is a dragon, you know, that is a fiery dragon that you're like can't deal with, or somebody who's like in your face, like my situation, you know, it's like come back with it with love. And it's interesting too, because I was like up and down with that whole situation. I was like fine one minute, and the next minute I was like but it was the moon, right? Like I was letting it control me. So, you know, it's like, just remember, we control our minds. Other people don't control us. We control ourselves. I knew they were going to say that. So we want to work with our chakras. We want to work with our sacral chakra, the orange. Thank you, Dr. Seuss. And the throat chakra. Speak your truth. And maybe that's what the stamina is trying to say too. You know, like we got to keep our stamina up right now. When we were talking about Yona and that, like those 4 million people in that video, it's like that video, why I cried so hard is because I really genuinely realized like we are on the other side of it. When we were talking about the roller coaster, I feel like we were up here for a while, and I feel like we're here, and it's not just a straight like that. It's more like we're here, and I feel like we're plateaued for a little while everybody is like, holy shit, like look how many real spiritual people there are, and like not just the, you know, oh look at me and blah blah blah, and I do yoga and I gotta stop doing that. I am a dick. Why do I keep doing that? I gotta change. I want to change that side of myself. Why is it my Scorpio and my triple Sag? I mean, am I ever gonna change? Am I ever gonna stop being like that?
It's up to you.
I know. I will eventually. I'll grow. I feel like I'll grow out of it.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I'm in that transformational stage. But anyway, but you guys hear what I'm saying? It's like, I feel like people are starting to believe it more. You know what I mean? And know that it's real. They're seeing the results. They're seeing like how manifestation really works, how we talk positive, and abundance happens because it just does. You know what I mean? Because we're putting so much into it. So I want you to, if you can, from now until the waxing crescent moon and the new moon in Pisces, I want you to just take it easy and take stock in like who you are and like what you want and like everything you know, if you watch this whole thing, troopers, but also there was some good medicine here today. And sometimes good medicine takes a minute. You know, when I read these things and they're like, people don't have more of an attention span than 7 seconds, that scares me. I thought it was 12, and then I heard it was 7, and I was like, what? That's scary. It's like, when did that happen? This instant gratification. It's like, no, you need to like stick in there and like be there, and like, you know, and also power in numbers. And we're realizing like, you know, that's why when she was here, I'm like, I feel like people need to see this. I think they need to see, ooh, I feel like I saw a fairy. It was either my shadow, but I felt like it was above my head. Anyway, I'm tired. I haven't eaten anything. Also, it just opened to no again. Whoever that's for. And then this was nice job. I can't get in there too close. And then thing. And maybe I feel like it's for some of you, you need to get a new hairstyle. Or I also feel like for some of you, like you have really natural hair, like Zoe has really naturally curly hair. I feel like they're like, so if you want like a big, like cool hair, like wear it like that. Fucking dude. Like that's what I pictured. Like I feel like they're like, look at me, look at me, look at me. And they're like, yeah, look at you, do it. Okay, I think that's it. Oh, never lose hope. Fortune favors the brave. So I think that's it. Any more, Spirit? I didn't feel the pull to read from the book, but I think what I might do is I think I might make some shorts to do with these. Look for them. They'll either be there or they won't. There'll be something else there. But I think that was it. I think we're good to go. Yay. How did you like your first, it's my first too, really. Yeah. Like,
no, I loved it actually.
Oh, good. Yeah. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
By the way, it picked up with another one. It was no. Okay. This is a last message for somebody. And
I know where you're going with this.
So you can say no with grace. And you guys know this has been coming up for us a lot. You can say no with grace. So, like, I've just been avoiding what happened on Saturday until I'm ready to deal with it. I was just like, I've got company in town. I'm not dealing with this until Tuesday. So I was like, we need some time to like think about this or whatever. But I realized, like, Spirit was saying to me last night, you can do this with love. And so I'm not going to be mad. I got it all out. Thank God it happened over the, you know what I mean? Like, by the time I'll be all right, and I'll be calm and centered. And I'll be able to say, this just isn't right for us. And we're going to move on.
There's something better.
There's something better out there for us. And I'm glad that we were here for as long as we did.
Yep.
And now it's time for us to go.
And
honestly,
to have experienced it.
That's
even
right.
if it's just for a little bit.
Yes. And honestly, like, it's funny because one of the times he said, if you guys leave, will we still be friends? And I was like, and in my mind, I was like, probably not.
Yeah.
You know, like, if we left, like, probably not. Because why would we leave this? Like, we really wanted this. And, like, if we left, it would probably be in a situation where I can't deal with that, you know? And so probably not.
Yep.
And so, but that's okay, because Alder and I were talking about this the other day. I go, that's our job. We bring the medicine. This is how we bring the medicine. It's just that I'm at the point now where I'm just like, I just want to be in my own house. I'm not, you know, I'm just like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this crap. But I don't think Spirit would have had us collect all that shit that we did for a house if we weren't meant to.
Yeah.
So
there's a reason.
We're going to go through it. We're going to go up there and go through it with my pendulum and see. And we'll donate to the Serenity House and like things like that. And who knows, wouldn't that fucking be crazy if we end up donating everything to the Serenity House?
That would be really interesting.
Because we also just got a new van. Well, it needs work and things like that, but we have a new van. And I said, wouldn't that be crazy if we're supposed to travel around in it and we're not supposed to have a home right now?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Stay tuned for that next leg of Lula's life. Until then, thank you, Zoe.
Thank
I love you. Can I hug you? Okay. Fairy heart.
Oh, we both
I
got
know.
fairy.
I love you, dude.
I love
Thanks, you
you
guys. Thank you so much for inviting Zoe and having her here. And say your Instagram thing again.
My Instagram is @barefootguidance. And thank you for
Yeah,
having me.
of course. It is my divine pleasure. I hope we do more because this was really fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
I know.
It was
Okay, you
fun.
guys, we love you. And if you ever want to do this with me, I've talked about maybe doing like a Zoom or a split screen or something like that. We could do that. Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah.
Okay. I love you so much. We'll see you next time. Until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other. Blessed be. Oh.